So, continuing our topic, macrocytic megaloblastic anemia, we had a discussion in the last lecture that how the DNA replication it is affected, and due to inappropriate synthesis of the nucleotide thymine, this DNA replication it is affected, which leads to a formation of large cell with a large nucleus or immature nucleus, which this cell we call it as megaloblast. And the nucleus in this cell it remains immatured because there is a defect in DNA replication, and the cytoplasm of this cell it gets excessively matured or excessively hemoglobinized because the process of translation and transcription they are not affected. In transcription, the nucleotide which is placed or which is used in place of thymine it is uracil, and in this B12 or folic acid deficiency there is only an inappropriate synthesis of thymine. Now, continuing our lecture, today we will discuss about some neurological complications. Suppose this is a patient, he is a patient and he is suffering from deficiency of B12. And here we have another patient, he is suffering from deficiency of folic acid. Now, firstly, we will talk about bone marrow picture. And second thing, it is about the blood picture. Now, in both of these patients, a patient who is having deficiency of B12 and also in a patient who is having a deficiency of folic acid, both of these patients there will be an absolutely identical bone marrow picture. There will be absolutely identical bone marrow picture because in both of these patients, in the bone marrow there will be presence of large cells, megaloblast, and megaloblastosis may be seen in both of these patients' bone marrow. Now, if we talk about the blood picture or about the peripheral blood, in both of these cases, in both of these patients, they will be having macrocytes in the blood, or their blood picture it will be exactly identical. Both of these patients they will be having an exactly identical blood picture. So I will write here same. Both of these cases they are having absolutely identical bone marrow picture as well as they are having an absolutely identical blood picture. Third thing which I want to discuss is about the neurological complications. These neurological complications, these are only seen in the deficiency of B12, but they are absent in the deficiency of folic acid. Neurological complications in a patient who is suffering from deficiency of B12 they are seen, but in this patient who is suffering from the deficiency of folic acid, these neurological complications are absent. Now, we will discuss in detail how these neurological complications they occur. In the last lecture, we had discussed about this biochemical reaction. This is the first biochemical reaction which is associated with B12 which is going in our body. Here was the tetrahydrofolate. Initially this tetrahydrofolate it was methylated. Okay. Then it got converted into simply tetrahydrofolate. Here was the B12, and this B12 it reacted with this tetrahydrofolate and he got methylated. He was methylated then. Then these B12 he again reacted with a a non-proteinaceous amino acid, we call it as homocysteine, and this homocysteine, this B12, he passed on his methyl group to this homocysteine and it was eventually converted into methionine. This was the biochemical reaction we studied in the last lecture. Now, this methionine, it is used in our body for the synthesis of choline. This methionine, it synthesizes choline. And this choline, it produces choline containing phospholipids. Initially methionine, it synthesizes choline, and this choline, it synthesizes choline containing phospholipids, and this choline containing phospholipids, they are helpful, or they are very much, we need this choline containing phospholipids in healthy myelination of the neurons. In healthy myelination, we require this choline containing phospholipids. Now, if there is a patient who is having a deficiency of this B12, a patient who is having a deficiency of this B12, and if there is a deficiency, this B12 here, it will be absent, and as there is absence of B12, this methyl group, it will never be forwarded, or it will never be transferred to this homocysteine. Again, there is deficiency of B12, and if there is deficiency of B12, this methyl group, it will not get transferred to this homocysteine, and this methionine, it will be not produced. As there is deficiency of B12, due to deficiency of B12, homocysteine is not methylated, and this methionine, it is not produced. Hence, the levels of this methionine in our body, they are decreased. The levels of methionine in our body, they are decreased. As the levels of methionine are decreased, this choline, which is synthesized from this methionine, if methionine is not present, then this choline, it will be also absent, or there will be a deficiency of choline. As this choline is deficient, or it is less, then choline containing phospholipids, their concentration, it will also decrease, or this choline containing phospholipids, they will also get decreased in our body. And if these choline containing phospholipids, they are reduced or they are decreased, then there is not a healthy myelination, it is an unhealthy myelination. The myelination process, it is somewhere affected due to absence of this choline containing phospholipids, which was caused due to deficiency of B12. Again, there is deficiency of B12. If there is deficiency of B12, this methyl group will not get transferred to homocysteine, and hence methionine will not be produced. As methionine is not produced, choline is also not produced. As choline is not produced, choline containing phospholipids are also not produced, and they lead to unhealthy myelination of the neurons. This is a first biochemical reaction which is affecting the process of myelination. Now we shall talk about the second process which is affecting the myelination. In our body, there is a presence of odd chain fatty acids. Odd chain fatty acids, they are present in our body. And one such acid or one such compound or one such fatty acid, it is propionyl CoA. This is odd number fatty acid. We call it as odd numbered fatty acid because this fatty acid or this compound, they contain odd number of carbon atoms. This propionyl CoA in our body, it produces malonyl CoA. It produces malonyl CoA. And this malonyl CoA, it further produces succinyl CoA. Initially there was propionyl CoA, it produced malonyl CoA, and this malonyl CoA, it produced succinyl CoA. But here there is an enzyme which is mediating this reaction. This enzyme, it mediates this reaction, and we call this enzyme as methyl malonyl CoA mutase. This enzyme, which we called it as methyl malonyl CoA mutase, it is regulating this reaction or the conversion of malonyl CoA into succinyl CoA. But there is a term or there is a condition. This enzyme methyl malonyl CoA mutase, it only works when there is a presence of B12. If there is a presence of B12, then and then only this enzyme will work. And this B12 which is present here, it is present in the form of adenosyl cobalamin. Again, there is an enzyme which we call it as methyl malonyl CoA mutase. It regulates the conversion of malonyl CoA into succinyl CoA, but this enzyme, it only works if there is a presence of B12. And if there is a patient who is suffering from the deficiency of B12, here the B12, it will not be attached or it will not be present here. And as B12 will be absent, this enzyme methyl malonyl CoA mutase, this enzyme, it will not work. And if this enzyme will not work, the conversion of malonyl CoA into succinyl CoA, it will be disrupted or it will not happen. And as this conversion is not occurring, this malonyl CoA is not converted into succinyl CoA, the levels of malonyl CoA in our body, they will increase. Levels of malonyl CoA in our body, they will increase. And as the levels of malonyl CoA are increased, the precursor of malonyl CoA, propionyl CoA, the levels of propionyl CoA in our body, they will be also increased. Now, this increased levels of malonyl CoA and propionyl CoA, they cause a problem. This propionyl CoA, further it is converted into propionates, and this malonyl CoA, it is further converted into melanoids. It is further converted into melanoids, and then they accumulate in the central nervous system and also peripheral nervous system. Here, these propionates and melanoids, they start accumulating or incorporating in the central nervous system, as well as they start incorporating in the peripheral nervous system. And as this propionyl CoA and malonyl CoA, it incorporates or accumulates in the central nervous system, they demyelinate the neurons. They demyelinate the neurons which are working, they need the excessively myelinized neuron, it works well. And after the accumulation of this propionyl CoA and malonyl CoA, there will be demyelination of the neurons, and the neurons, they will not function well as they were functioning earlier. Now we have seen two biochemical reactions which are affecting the myelination process. First reaction I told you about, if there is a B12 deficiency, then there is a deficiency of methionine, and if there is a methionine deficiency, there is deficiency of choline, then deficiency of choline containing phospholipids, and in the end the choline containing phospholipids, they are helping in healthy myelination, and if this choline containing phospholipids they are absent, there will be an unhealthy myelination. And the second reaction we studied, it is about the propionyl CoA, which was converted into malonyl CoA and succinyl CoA, but due to absence of B12, this enzyme it will not work, and the levels of malonyl CoA and propionyl CoA they will increase, and they will now accumulate in the central nervous system as well as peripheral nervous system, and they will affect the myelination of the neurons. Now we will discuss how there is a defect or how there are neurological defects caused due to this accumulation. Now here, suppose here is a human leg. See, human leg. Here is a section of spinal cord. Now, suppose this is a motor nerve which is supplying to the thigh. This is a motor nerve which is supplying to the thigh, and here is another motor nerve which is supplying to the calf. Now I will draw here a sensory nerve. Here is a sensory nerve. The blue colored nerve, it is a sensory nerve, and this black colored nerve, it is a motor nerve. Now this sensory nerve, if due to incorporation of this melanoids and propionates, this sensory nerve it gets demyelinated. If this sensory nerve it gets demyelinated due to accumulation of propionates and melanoids, it will cause some defects in the sensations. A person who is having a demyelination of this sensory nerve, he will sometimes suffer from hypersensitivity. He will feel like needles are being picked, or there will be a tingling sensation. We call it as hypersensitivity. Also, we call it as hyperesthesia. Another, if the person, if we touch him and he doesn't feel the touch, then the person he might be suffering from hyposensitivity. And if the person he might be suffering from this hyposensitivity, we call it as hypoesthesia. We call it as hypoesthesia. If the person, if there is demyelination of this sensory nerve, either there will be hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. Hypersensitivity means there will be a tingling sensation or a needle-like sensation towards to the patient. We call it as hyperesthesia. or the patient he might be not feeling a touch. If you touch him, he will not feel it. We call it as hyposensitivity. Also we call it as hypoesthesia. And together this hyperesthesia and hypoesthesia, we call it as paresthesia. We call it as paresthesia. Suppose there is a demyelination in this sensory nerve, then a patient he might be feeling hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. If there is hypersensitivity, we call it as hyperesthesia. If there is hyposensitivity, we call it as hypoesthesia. And together for hyperesthesia and hypoesthesia, we use the word paresthesia. Now, if there is a demyelination, in this motor nerve, if there is a demyelination in this motor nerve and we do a knee jerk test. Now, what is a knee jerk test? If we take a soft or small hammer and with the help of this hammer, we tap on the patellar tendon. Here below the patella there is a patellar tendon, and if we tap on this patellar tendon, this lower leg, it comes outward. There is an outward reflex of this leg. If we tap this patellar tendon during the knee jerk test, there is a outward, this lower leg, it comes outward, or there is a outward reflex. And if it comes outward, we call it as positive test. It occurs in a normal person. But if there is demyelination of this motor nerve, and after the demyelination we do this knee jerk test, we tap the patellar tendon, and after tapping on this patellar tendon, there is no outward reflex. This outward reflex, it is absent, or we call it as negative test, because this reflex, it was initiated or it was carried here by this motor nerve, and due to demyelination in this motor nerve, there is absence of this outward reflex, or we say that there is a negative knee jerk test. We say there is a negative knee jerk test. So first neurological complication, we saw that there was paresthesia. Second, we call it as negative knee jerk test. Now, this was about the peripheral nervous system. Now we will discuss about central nervous system. And in the central nervous system, here I make a small section of this spinal cord. In this spinal cord, there is a dorsal column system, and this dorsal column system, it has fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. Fasciculus cuneatus, they take the sensations or they take the information from the upper limbs or upper body, and this fasciculus gracilis, they take the information towards the brain from the lower part of the body or from the legs. And this fasciculus gracilis, this pathway, this dorsal column pathway, it is highly myelinated. This dorsal column pathway, here we are talking about the fasciculus gracilis, which is taking the information up. It is highly myelinated because it has to regulate some of these main functions. First function is proprioceptions. Proprioceptions. Now what is proprioception? If our eyes are closed, even if the eyes are closed, we can tell that our finger, it is down or it is up. In short, this is proprioception, or if we want to define it in detail, proprioception, they are the sensations which are carried from the locomotor system. Now what is a locomotor system? A locomotor system, it includes all the muscles, tendons, ligaments, joints, capsules. These all construct the locomotor system, and all the sensations which are carried from this locomotor system, we call it as proprioceptions. Then this dorsal column pathway, it also carries sense of vibration, also sense of position. Now if due to some problem or due to deficiency of B12 there is accumulation of propionates and melonoates in this dorsal column pathway, and there is demyelination of this tract or this pathway, and due to demyelination of this dorsal column pathway, all these functions, they will be disturbed. And if a patient is coming to us and we tell him to close his eyes and we raise his lower foot or lower leg up, we first tell him to close his eyes and then we lift his lower leg up. He will not be telling that either the leg is up or it is down, because due to demyelination he has lost the sense of position. Due to demyelination in this dorsal column pathway, he has lost the sense of position, and as the sense of position is lost, the information about our position which was transferred towards the brain, it is now disturbed, and a person, he can't walk properly because he has lost the sense of position and he needs a taxi. That means there is a development of ataxic gait or ataxia. Ataxic gait or ataxia. I told you about three neurological complications which are caused due to deficiency of B12 and these neurological complications, they are caused only in deficiency of B12. First was the paresthesia, second was knee jerk test, it was negative, and third I told you it was the ataxic gait or ataxia. And including these three neurological complications, there is megaloblastosis and macrocytosis in the blood. We can confirm, or it will be a indication, a sure indication that this patient is suffering from B12 deficiency. This was all about the neurological complications which are caused due to B12 deficiency. Now, in short, I'll tell you a problem which is associated with folic acid deficiency. Folic acid deficiency, if there is a patient who is suffering from folic acid deficiency, neurological complications, they are not caused in that patient. If a female patient, she is suffering from folic acid deficiency, if the levels of folic acid in her body, they are very low during the preconception time or in the reproductive age, at the time of pregnancy, if the woman or lady, she is having the low levels of folic acid, then these low levels of folic acid, they affect the neural tube development in the fetus. The neural tube which is produced in the fetus, the development of neural tube, it is affected due to low levels of folic acid. The neural tube, it has two pores. First is the anterior pore and second is the posterior pore. And if there is a deficiency of folic acid, this anterior pore and posterior pore, they don't close well. They have to close in the fetus, and due to deficiency of folic acid in the pregnant lady, this anterior pore and posterior pore, they don't close well. And as the anterior pore, it doesn't close well in the fetus, it turns into a condition, we call it as anempsophily. We call it as anempsophily. This was about the anterior pore. And if the posterior pore, it doesn't closes well, then the fetus or the baby, he will be born with a disorder, we call it as spina bifida. We call it as spina bifida. So, this was all about this lecture.